You're listening to Make a Noise, only on Oneofus.net.
One of Us is a podcast and video network funded all but entirely by donations and subscriptions. We do accept pitches for audio-based or banner ads, but on a case-by-case basis. If you're interested in that, contact us at oneofusnet@gmail.com. With the amount of audio and video content we generate, it is expensive and extremely time-consuming to keep things running. Please go to the webpage oneofus.net and sign up for a subscription at $2, $5, $10, or $25 and get a ton of bonus content. One of Us needs and appreciates all your support.
By 1974, Mel Brooks had been quiet. It had been 4 years since the financial disappointment of The 12 Chairs. 4 years without a film. 4 years of trying to get things moving again in a business that doesn't wait, doesn't remember, and doesn't forgive hesitation. He needed a hit. He also needed the money. But when a script came to him, a Western comedy based on a story by Andrew Bergman, his first instinct wasn't excitement, but refusal. Because it wasn't his idea. And Mel Brooks, at his core, is ruled a bit by ego. He not only wants to be the director, the producer, he also wants to be the writer and the star. But need has a way of changing your mind. So he made a deal. He would direct the movie, but only if he could rewrite it. And the way he rewrote it says everything about where he came from. Because Brooks didn't sit alone and polish, he decided to recreate the only environment he knew he could trust, the chaos of a writer's room. The spirit of your show of shows lives in this movie. So we built a team. There was Richard Pryor, fearless, electric, bringing a voice and perspective the film couldn't exist without. Norman Steinberg and Alan Euger, both fast, sharp, fluent in the rhythms of television comedy. And Brooks himself, pushing, shaping, provoking. And what they created was a Western that not only tore into the myths of the genre, but into the lies it told about America. 1974 would become a turning point. A bad year for Richard Nixon, a good year for Mel Brooks. As the Watergate scandal unraveled a presidency built on secrecy and control, Brooks released a film built on the opposite: chaos, confrontation, and total exposure. Today we're talking about risk, about racism, and what happens when a filmmaker takes a job he doesn't want and turns it into something only he could make. I'm Eric Samaniego, and this is Make a Noise. Hello, welcome to Make a Noise. I'm Eric Samaniego. Today we're going to be talking about 1974's Blazing Saddles, which is an all-timer for all movies, and certainly for Mel. I'm being joined by the founder of One of Us, founder of The Feast. We've recorded many times together, and it's always a pleasure. Chris Cox, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here. I told him when he started the show, first off, great idea and perfect for you. And second, if you do want to have me on this, there's only one movie I'm going to do. And
right.
It's this.
Well, and so, yeah, because we had talked a little bit about, because Mel was one of those guys I grew up loving. Obviously, I'm doing a show about him. And I understand where you're coming from here, but like, what are your thoughts on Mel? And, well, I guess let's say first, what's your first memory of being exposed to him or his work?
Oh, boy, I have no idea. I mean, I grew up in the 70s, so like all this stuff was like put in front of me pretty early. I couldn't honestly tell you what the first Mel Brooks thing that I saw was. I mean, probably something related to like Laugh-In or a show like that.
Sure.
You know, where you're just like, because then at that point, TV was mainly reruns anyway. And you're like, yeah, I'm sure I saw stuff that was hysterical with him or that he was involved in on some level and loved it, but like didn't really have an identification point.
Right.
The first movie I remember seeing is Young Frankenstein, because I remember my mom and dad both had seen it in the theater and thought it was just the funniest thing they'd ever seen. And yeah, as a kid, I adored it. And I still think it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's not me talking shit about it. It's just, I feel like as I got older, my sense of humor changed, as people's do.
Sure.
And I felt like it just, Brooks's sense of humor and mine started to go in two different directions, where it was just like the simplicity of his type of humor and his puns. I was just like, this just isn't as funny. In fact, it gets a little aggravating sometimes sitting through it all. But every time I watch Blazing Saddles, I go back to it worried this is going to be the time I'll be like, fuck, I've always held this to such a high standard in my head. And this is the time that I go, it's just not as funny as I wanted to, as I remembered it being. I watched it 3 times in the last 2 years, and it is still just as funny as it was the first time I saw it, and absolutely brilliant and groundbreaking. And I don't know why it is this one film is the one that I feel is so different from everything else that he's done. Exactly. I mean, we'll talk about it as this goes on, but yeah, this is the one I always come back to and go, not only the best Mel Brooks film by a country mile, but like one of the best comedies of its era. Yeah. Like, period. Like, it was transgressive in an interesting way, and not like, I feel like some of the ways that Young Frankenstein was transgressive was a little, I don't know, it felt a little cheap. Like cheap shots.
I can see that.
Like, and I felt like the boundaries that Blazing Saddles was pushing against were so much more interesting, and daring, but we've all heard the famous thing with him talking about the producer coming in and going, yeah, you got to cut this, and this. And he goes, yeah, I'll do all that. And he's thinking the whole time, this guy doesn't know I have Final Cut, does he? And then he just crumpled them up and threw them in the trash and did what he wanted to anyway.
Right. He said, I'm going to file this somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was actually the chair of Warner Brothers, Ted Ashley. So it was a very big meeting because they'd read the script and it was like, you can't have this. You can't have a man punching a horse. You can't have somebody beating up an old lady. Certainly you can't use the N-word this many times.
But I think at the point where I realized that Mel Brooks was an important person in the history of not just comedy, but like film, was pretty early on when I discovered who Carl Reiner was. Because I thought Carl Reiner was really, really funny, and started like falling down a rabbit hole about like, okay, what is this guy's deal? And finding out about their whole relationship and their history in comedy. And honestly, if you have never read a book about like that period in comedy, and especially their place in it, you really should. Because it's super interesting, and they really were both transgressive and fascinating and groundbreaking and like kind. Most importantly, that I think is a word you wouldn't associate necessarily to a lot of the other big groundbreakers from this period in comedy. Right. I think that I really decided after the fact that I'm much more of a fan of Mel Brooks as a human being, who I still very much am. I think he's an amazing human being. Just an incredible story, that guy, and all the people he has helped in his career, than I am a fan of his actual films.
Yeah, which is fair. And I've definitely heard that. You're in good company. George Carlin very famously said that. He thinks that Mel is so much funnier as a person. He'd love to just watch him tell stories on The Tonight Show rather than sit through one of his movies.
Yeah, I was saying the other day, I was like, Mel and Kevin Smith are the two people that I would absolutely do anything to sit in an audience and just listen to them talk for like 4 hours. They're so funny and smart and affable, and just like, oh, I love them, but less interested in watching most of their films.
I'm definitely there with you on Kevin, for sure. But yeah, something about the movie too. I mean, I've seen it since I was a kid, long before I should have been seeing it. I was watching it on television.
No, me too.
Yeah. But it's very fresh. And some of that is, I think, in the way that some of what Norman Lear was doing at the time, it's really, puncturing societal conceptions of the era about race and those things that unfortunately are just part of the human condition and still are very prevalent. In fact, that pendulum swing that our culture does.
Yeah,
we're very much in the opposite direction than we should be.
Yes,
as far as the swing. And so the movie now feels, again, and this must happen every few years, where it feels like prescient. Like,
again, it feels like, oh, this is challenging again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because people always say this movie couldn't be made today. I've heard that so many times.
Disagree.
And I disagree. Because, like you said, kindness.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think a lot of people, when they think of parody, pastiche, whatever, kindness is not really something that they're associating with it. But I think that's kind of, for me, what separates Mel's approach, at least, to these kinds of things, is that a generation that was reared on, like, Scary Movie, which I admit, I saw when I was a kid and I loved it.
Sure.
But those kinds of that followed, like Date Movie, Teen Movie, Not Another Teen Movie, all that, they're not celebrating what they're satirizing.
There's no real character-based storyline to those films.
Mhm.
There's like the loosest outline of a story that's largely a parody of another story.
Right.
But it's not really about having any meaning to the actions of these characters in those films. In Blazing Saddles, it really comes down to the core of kindness, because this guy, who everyone around him is a racist prick except Gene Wilder, he forgives them. He regularly forgives them, and he teaches them. And it's an amazing thing watching it, how he manages to convince them that like there's nothing wrong with somebody like of a different skin color without ever saying those words.
Yeah.
You know, it really turns into a thing where like they're just like, he is a compassionate, good man who is very good at doing this job. And why were we ever rejecting him in the first place? You know, and it's also smart enough to be like, oh, because of that, it's both based on the reason they're afraid of him in the first place is fear, and the reason they accept him is fear. And being knowledgeable enough to know that's the core of what racism is.
Yeah.
Is like fear, you know?
Yeah, the movie has a really good heart, and got Cleavon Little. I can't say enough
what a
about.
Find. Yeah.
I mean, he's such a great actor. He's mostly known for his stage work, and I think if it had been a different era, he could have been a movie star easily. It's just he was relegated to playing supporting roles in sitcoms. He plays a burglar in an episode of All in the Family.
Yeah, his career never really did much after this in film.
No.
And they wanted, Mel really wanted Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And fought very hard to get Richard Pryor.
But liability, baby.
Yeah, they were like, ooh, Richard is already a huge problem. Now, you did get him to come in to be a writer.
Right.
You know, and you can... What's funny is I just listened to the movie with Mel Brooks commentary, which is the same commentary that has been around since the earliest version of this film.
Like Laserdisc, probably.
Yeah, probably. And he's like, what ended up being funny is that Richard wrote all the white people comedy bits, and I wrote all the black people comedy bits.
I love that. And that Mel did say that Richard sort of blessed the script with, we can use this word as many times as we want.
Yeah.
Which it's funny to think that this could have been the first vehicle for Richard and Gene Wilder.
Right? Which, you know, ended up being in like, there's one film that really works like crazy with, which is Stir Crazy, which sadly has been all but out of print as near as I can tell forever, which is like, I remember seeing it and going, this is groundbreaking, amazing shit. And it was a big hit and everybody loved it. I can't even remember the last time I heard anybody reference it or saw anything where it was even available anywhere.
No.
And it's amazing.
The last new version that was issued was in the UK, because I wanted to get, it's a box set of just all the movies, even the shitty ones, which honestly, most of them are not very good, but they have little diamond scenes, each of them.
Yeah.
But it was region 2. It was like, I don't have a region for the player. Like, I'm not going to do a whole thing. But no, that's such a fun, fine movie. And, I mean, this whole thing started because Mel had been out of favor. You know, 12 Chairs had bombed.
Which I still haven't seen. That's the only Mel Brooks film I've never seen.
So that's the only one I'd never seen, and we did it for the show. That's why I picked Right, because he and I agreed years ago that since we'd never seen it, we would wait and watch it together. And it was going to be either for Mel's 100th or his death. So we did it in between.
How was it?
I really liked it.
Okay.
It's so different from anything that he's ever done. It's certainly more... Because, I mean, we're talking about how the movies have kindness and heart, and there are real relationships, for the most part, in his movies. Now, his later stuff, less so. But this movie, definitely. I mean, there's some broad laughs, but everything is muted. And he really does explore... They shot it, and I forget now, but I think it was Hungary or something. And so there's some camera work and some visual choices that you don't really see in Mel Brooks movies, where he's sort of figuring out his voice as a director that are actually really beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I own a copy of it. I just never got around to it.
Yeah, I've owned it for years. It's been in this box set that I've never...
Same. I've had the DVD box set forever, and I just never cracked that one.
No, it's pretty good. I liked it. Yeah. But so he'd been out of work. He was pitched this script to Andrew Bergman, who was a dentist turned screenwriter, trying to, make his trade now as a writer, called Black Bart, had written a script. And Mel liked it and liked the idea, but he turned it down because he couldn't direct anything he didn't write. But he was also broke. Now, Anne Bancroft was doing quite well, but he was really, really hung up on the fact that he wasn't able to, he felt like he had something in him that he wasn't getting recognition for. There's definitely some ego, more than his share in him.
When I look back in like that recent documentary about him, documentary series, I guess. It was a two-part. Watching them at that age when they kind of first met, I feel like it's like me and my wife. I'm just like, here's this gorgeous, fucking amazing creature who's so talented and like great, and then me, the troll. Like you look at it like she's this goddess, and then there's Mel Brooks, who's never really been good looking,
but he's got charm, and that's ladies
so much
charm. Get your guy with joie de vivre, who's maybe not the best looking. You'll do fine.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like it's not for every lady, but some ladies are like, I genuinely just want a guy who's funny, which explains why all of us have gotten laid in the past like a couple of years. So.
Yeah, I'm getting laid during the show right now.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you may leave.
My hand is getting tired.
I'm like Mel in this movie, like with his secretary. But well, it's funny because when
take your head off my tits.
Hello, boys. I missed you. What was it? It's what Anne describes them meeting. It was during a show. They were filming a special. Oh gosh, he was like a really boring singer. Papa loves mambo.
Yeah.
Anyway, Perry Como.
Yes.
And he was writing for it because he was struggling. Like after your shows and all that stuff ended, he tried Hollywood. He worked with Jerry Lewis. Things did not work out.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, Jerry turns out is a real prick.
Kind of a prick. Yeah. And Mel is decidedly not, and doesn't seem like he ever was. So
no, but it's because of Jerry though that one of those kids in those wheelchairs got up and walked across the room to turn off the dialogue.
I always want to know. I'm always going to be curious. How big was the kickback to Jerry Lewis on that? Because I feel like there had to have been, right? Because he's
just to keep his hair black.
Famously a dick, such a dick. I'm like, I bet you anything he took home a paycheck for that was like sizable.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
Because he also famously didn't wear the same pair of socks more than once. So he must have been taking money from
something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, but the way she described Mel, she heard this voice from the darkness. Hey, I'm Bancroft. I'm Mel Brooks. And he, bounds down from the darkness, the seated area for the audience. And she's like, she was expecting Clark Gable, Cary Grant, like this mixture, because men were afraid of her. She'd been on stage as Annie Sullivan at this point.
Yeah.
And she was in Two for the Seesaw. She had a reputation just from character she played. And she said, men just didn't approach me. And then this guy came in, and he looked like my father and acted like my mother. Which I think is a beautiful description of like why they worked.
I mean, like being married to a Jewish woman, I can tell you right now, that's the definition of true love.
But oh God, there's even some story where, because she's doing well, but for his ego, she would pass him some money if they were at a restaurant so he could pay. And so she'd given him some money, and they're at some Chinese restaurant, and he tips huge, and she kicks him and goes, "Oh, some big shot with my money." So
yeah.
So he's really looking for work, and he originally turned it down because he wanted to do something he'd written, but he really needed the money. So he did agree to do it, but only if he could rewrite it, and he wanted to recreate that Your Show of Shows writer's room feel, because that's what he wanted to approach the movie with. Like, this should be broader.
As near as I can tell, it was all but completely rewritten. Right?
Yeah, there's basically nothing from the original treatment that made it over. Weirdly, this also was spun off into a TV show called Black Bart. Yes. With Louis Gossett Jr.
Which I guess on not this current release, and I don't even think the one before that, but the one before that, the Blu-ray before that has the pilot on it. And apparently it's awful.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Like he tried a few times to return to TV after Get Smart. There was that, and then When Things Were Rotten, which was a Robin Hood show. And some of that stuff gets recycled later into Men in Tights.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I didn't even know about that.
But so it's Andy Bergman, who was shocked to be included in the writer's room because he just assumed, okay, well, Mel's taking it over, so I'm not involved. But he was brought in. Bill Uger, who did a lot of TV stuff. Oh gosh, I had him written down. But the big one is going to be Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And
who would like come in with the demand that they're like, okay, but you need to make sure that before I even get on the train to get here, because he wouldn't fly, that there's a lot of a very specific brandy.
Yes.
There, because he's like, I need to be full up before I even get there. You're like, oh no.
And then there was one time where like he just didn't show up, and he called from a payphone, and he was like with 2 hookers in like Philadelphia or something. He'd somehow gotten on a train.
He was living the fucking young Mick Jagger life, man. At that point, he was like that point of comedy. Like comedians were like rock stars. If you were the top of the heap, you were on that same level as like a huge rock star.
And he was still on his way up. He was, a young man.
But he was like a in the wake of Lenny Bruce, where everyone sort of after the fact went, why weren't we paying more attention to Lenny Bruce?
Right.
We're looking for the next Lenny Bruce, and Pryor had kind of like, even at that point, we're up and coming, but still like everyone in comedy knew who he was. Everybody wanted to be next to him.
Yeah.
Genius. And you knew it. If you ever go back and listen to his early comedy albums, they're amazing.
There's such vulnerability, which is often kind of the death of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about him that he's like spellbinding.
He is one of the early, and again, in the traditional Lenny Bruce, although he did it in a very different way, a storyteller.
Yeah.
Like he's telling you tales about like ostensibly his life or the life of a character,
Mudbone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But doing it like he's storytelling, he's acting out these characters. Very different from what people do now, for sure.
Oh, yeah. And, it's funny, even watching older clips when Richard was really trying to, be mainstream, and he was basically doing, even admitted, kind of a rip off of Cosby, that kind of material that's not true to him. He's still such an engaging performer. So he would have been a big star either way. But when he finally unleashed who he really was, and I mean, some of the stuff he talks about, especially later, with the suicide attempt, although he didn't label it as such at the time, like all that, it's just, there's probably never, certainly been committed to film performances like that on stage by a comedy.
I mean, I always go, the one to see, if you've never seen Richard Pryor's Live at the Sunset Strip, but that is more of a traditional comedy, like, routine, but it's so brilliant, you can't believe it. It's like, oh my God, this is still, all these years later, groundbreaking and hysterical. But if you go back and listen to the super early stuff, you're like, this doesn't even sound like comedy like I know it. It's very funny and clever, but it's a totally different animal.
Yeah, he's more like riffing.
I really hope that he actually told Eddie Murphy, tell Bill Cosby to have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.
I gotta remember that. Is that from Raw?
That's or
the one after.
I want to say that was from Delirious, but I can't remember exactly.
Wait, so there's red leather suit and purple suit.
Red leather suit is Raw. Purple leather suit is Delirious.
Okay, Raw
and
was
then
the
there's
one.
Comedian, which is before that.
Okay, see, I've never seen that one. But the red leather suit...
There's not a video, there's only audio.
Okay. The red leather suit, though, is what I grew up with. And, like, God, I remember going around my house quoting Eddie Murphy as Eddie Murphy. Doing the voice like... I grew up,
Can you do the laugh now? Can you do it? Can you still do it?
I can't.
I can't either. I never could.
But, anyway. Sorry, we're getting far off.
I'm the king of tangents.
No, but this is what I like to do. This is what the show is.
Okay.
Because, honestly... We're going to hit the high points of the movie, but really just kind of want to know what we're feeling as we're going through it.
Sure.
But the movie opens with a song written by Mel, because by this time he'd written one original song for each of his films, at least, with the encouragement of Anne. Oh, Anne. But Blazing Saddles was recorded by Frankie Lane, songwriter, singer in his own right, but he had done other Western songs. He did not know that this was a parody.
That's hysterical to me. They're like, and they were like, should we tell him? Like, no, absolutely not. Because it's going to be so much funnier if it's played straight. Like when you listen to the commentary on the movie, he talks about that and it tangents him into this whole thing about that very nature of like, some things in comedy are not funny unless they're played straight. Like there's a place for absurdism and there's a place for playing it straight. You've got to know the key to understanding comedy is understanding when those moments are. And one of it for this was, it's not going to be funny if he's doing it joking. It's got to feel like this is a serious Western song.
Well, and that's something too. I think that Mel is like myself in the sense that I don't know when to be subtle, but Mel, I think why he and Gene, their collaborations, I think, are the highlights of both of their careers. Is
Certainly.
because Gene brought Mel in.
They both made no secret of the fact that they did their best work with each other.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
wish there had been more, but
Yeah.
Gene, wanted to go off and do his own thing. And really, Mel also wanted to be center stage.
Yeah.
He wanted to be the movie star.
Yeah.
And, hey, I get that for him. Like,
And Gene wasn't even the first choice. There was this
Gig
guy
Young.
who ended up killing his wife, and like a week after he would have actually started filming, because they did film some stuff with him.
So he was going through DTs because he was a raging alcoholic. Gig Young, who, if listeners might know from They Shoot Horses, Don't They?
Yeah. Great movie, by the way.
Yeah,
if you've never seen
great movie. But he, on the day of the shoot, as the Waco Kid, Mel first, the way he tells it, and Mel does know how to tell a story, because you can watch interview clips of him from decades ago. He tells it with the same rhythm and the way a good storyteller does.
Yes.
But that he thought, boy, this guy's good. And then, he starts upchucking this green stuff. He goes, this is too good.
What a great acting. He just did that on command like that.
And so, and of course, he killed his wife and killed himself shortly after.
Yeah.
But he called Gene, and he was in dire straits. And Gene was in New York. He just wrapped a play, and he said, can you be here on Monday to play this part? Because he had envisioned him as a much older guy.
You mean Gene Wilder.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Gene, yeah. But Mel had envisioned this character as a much older guy. I mean, an old gunslinger, and that makes sense, certainly. And he'd offered it to Duke Wayne, John Wayne, who turned it down and said, I won't be in this movie, but I'll be the first one in line to see it.
Yeah, no, him talking about it, going like, John told me, I stayed up all night reading it, and I don't remember the last time I laughed that loud. This is amazing. This does not fit my profile at all, and people would reject me for being in it. I can't do this movie, but I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
What would that have been like?
Who knows?
God.
Right? But like, again, happy accidents sometimes are like the high point of some of the greatest films. And this is one where it was like, he didn't want a young guy. It's not what he was envisioning at all. But that team up between Wilder and Mel Brooks provided both of their best films ever. Arguably
3.
What's the third
one?
Producers. The producers. Yeah, the producers as well. Like, they work so incredibly well off of each other. And it really was sort of more of a partnership when they worked together.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if like his reluctance to hire him was a certain amount of like Mel being young and a little bit of a narcissist, being like I want this to be my thing this time. Because I've read in the producers, it was very much still that, where it was like Gene was as much a creator on it as Mel was in many ways. And it's like, but if Gene's here, then he's going to end up being like, he's going to end up writing a lot of this. And I want to be the main guy.
Yeah.
When you're that age, that's the type of shit you think,
Yeah, I completely see that.
But man, I'm so grateful it ended up working that way, because this is my favorite Gene Wilder film.
He's great in it.
He is so good in it, and so much of it has to do with that quiet friendship with him and the actual lead of the film, Cleavon Little. Man, their back and forth is so funny, and there's no other film that has that relationship, that type of back and forth relationship with them, where they feel like they just feel like two real people talking that are just discovering, oh shit, we're going to be friends, aren't we?
Yeah.
And are like laughing at each other's jokes and are surprised that they're laughing that hard. It feels so real.
Yeah. There's a lot of warmth.
Yeah.
And that's something that's come up too, that in a lot of Mel's movies, think of the producers, 12 Chairs, there's at the center of it, a male friendship, which is not something you see a ton in these kinds of movies. And I think it's been theorized that some of that is because, he didn't have a father figure and he was close to his brothers, and there's something there. And certainly he and Carl bonding sort of as brothers.
Yeah.
In 49 in the writer's room of your show. So
him always having to have that person, like his best projects are always where he has someone like that.
Yeah. So the movie itself, it's 1874, and the vernacular of 1974 is very abundant in it. And I think the like we were saying, the movie works really well. But the whole premise is basically that the railroad is being built. And at this point in American history, it's not just black people, people of color, but also there was a lot of Chinese immigrants that were working the railroads.
And
Irish, yeah. And so they find that there's quicksand, and they need to reroute this railroad through Rock Ridge, so it's about to be worth a lot. And so one of the governor, Jay Lepedemain, played by Mel Brooks and named after a famous French vaudevillian who would fart.
Appropriately.
Yeah, appropriately.
As it turned out.
Well, that's something too, and we'll get there. But it's crazy that some of these milestones are fairly recent, with like farting on film and things.
When I found out that was the first time, I was like, no, that can't be true.
But yeah, it's the same with like the flushing toilet was All in the Family, the first episode of All in the Family, and that's 1971.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
like people were like, I don't want to see that in the film.
Well, it's like when Psycho was happening, and they were telling Alfred Hitchcock that he couldn't show a toilet. When she's tearing up that paperwork and flushing it.
You can't actually show a toilet on film. Like we're all like. Nope, no such thing as toilets. Nope, that's not a thing. I refuse to acknowledge that I have a toilet in my house. I have never had to take a shit my entire life.
Well, it's the same way the first married couple you see in bed together on a sitcom is Herman Munster and Lily Munster.
No shit.
Because it was, they're like cartoon characters, basically. But like...
also, that's kind of turning me on now.
Yeah, a little bit. Like Dick Van Dyke Show, they were the first... Beyond Lucy and Desi as a kid, the first time I was watching a show, and I thought, oh, they do it.
Yeah, no, you definitely got that feel on that watching that show.
Yeah,
sure.
And I know they weren't together, and who knows? I know they both deny that they ever hooked up, but one could assume
maybe. But
it's like, wait, so
I gotta assume they were friends. Though.
Rob is definitely getting into her bed or something. Yes, there's no way.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about what TV characters from the 50s and 60s
actually fucked. Disappointing news for you guys is the mom and the Brady Bunch mainly fucked the kids.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I saw that in the files.
Because the dad didn't really like chicks that much.
Not at all. He was fucking second Darren from Bewitched.
Yep.
But so, oh gosh. Okay, so.
Anyway, I know I'm. Again,
no, you're fine.
King of tangents.
You're fine.
I apologize.
But the villain of the movie is this is maybe my favorite performance of his, and he is one of my favorite comic actors, and he's someone who I think is underrated because he's more of a sketch actor.
Wait, which villain?
Sorry,
are you talking about Harvey Korman?
Harvey Korman.
Okay,
because
I was about a lot of villains. Yeah,
but announcing Harvey Korman as a villain, who I love Harvey. I think he's hysterical in this, and
so good.
He is underrated because he's more of a sketch actor, and there's certainly performances of his that I've seen in movies where it's like, ooh, okay, let's bring it a little bit.
Yeah. But, I mean, like he was miscast in things, or wasn't like. I mean, I feel like he came from an early version of improv, before it was like a thing we talked about.
Yeah.
Like everything about the Carol Burnett show feels like all of these guys came from some early version of improv,
like pre-Compass Players kind of stuff.
Yes, you watch that and you're like, this felt like characters that were developed over time through just friends sitting around together, bullshitting, drinking too much, and then just saying, let's try it and see what happens.
Right.
And then just letting it go from there. I feel like that was his experience. He could be great, but he was primarily a broad comic actor. And when they tried to like make him be a little more serious, it didn't necessarily work. Mm-hmm. He's not always great at being like too serious. But here he's so perfect for this part.
Mel knows how to use him because he uses him multiple times in movies, and each time he's incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right.
Yeah, no, I love Harvey, and so he's the main villain. He's got lackeys. We've got Slim Pickens.
Slim Pickens, who he had Mel had seen through Dr. Strangelove. He's like, I've got to get this guy in this film. Like, I got to have him.
And he's hysterical. You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
He's perfect in this film.
Yeah, him and, oh gosh, the other guy.
Matthew McConaughey of his time.
Well, and the other guy, who when we meet him is leading the group of people working on the railroad in Cleavon Little Falls into, a quicksand.
Oh my God, what is his name? The actor who's like...
I'm blanking on his
character actor. Like, you saw him in a billion fucking things back then.
And in the 90s, he was in those Pace Pecani sauce commercials. New York City.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, no, he's one of those guys, like, if you watch films in the 70s and 80s, you saw him in so many fucking things.
Yeah, I feel like he's in The Longest Yard and
just
a bunch of stuff.
Character actor you saw again and again and again, who was really good at this type of bad guy.
Who's adorable in the interviews I've seen, because he's always, when he's talking about this movie, like, he was really, before he'd say the N-word, he would like apologize to Cleavon and everybody. Like, is it okay? Are you sure you're comfortable?
I get it, man. Like, even now, if I was in like something like this, where I'm like, I feel very confident this is a smart, mature script that's about making fun of the fact that it's wrong to do this. I mean, like you were mentioning this earlier. I wanted to say the last example that I would compare to the way this works and does still work is Tropic Thunder, in that sense of we're openly doing the offensive thing you're not allowed to do, but doing it in a way that's not offensive to comment on why it's offensive.
Right.
That really works so great there.
Yeah.
Then I feel like if there was something like that now, I would be exactly the same way. I'd be like, I am so sorry. Like, I just want everyone to know that I understand the nature of what this is about. And like, I'm not confused.
So you're saying what every actor in a Tarantino movie has to say just before the cameras roll. I'm so sorry. I don't mean this.
Except Samuel L. Jackson is like, I'm going to call anybody that I want.
It's like, I had him add more.
No one's going to argue with Samuel L. Jackson. So,
but what basically happens is Cleavon Little, he hits that guy in the head, the bad guy we were just talking about, because he wasn't going to save them from the quicksand.
Yeah.
He gets out, hits him with a shovel, and so now we've Slim Pickens gets hit in the head, and so he asks Harvey Korman, hey, will you hang him by his neck until he's dead? And Harvey Korman is going to, but then he has a really good idea, because, like, how do we get these people out of Rock Ridge so I can take over? What if the most offensive thing I can think of, because they need a new sheriff, because they're constantly being, assaulted, and it's sort of like a Three Amigos situation where they've got people constantly hitting them up. And so it's like, what if we send him a black sheriff? So instead of killing him, we get him as a sheriff, and a great sequence where Count Basie and his orchestra is playing in the middle of nowhere.
So random. We're just like in the middle of the desert, and it's actually Count Basie. And the stories about him like agreeing to do it and talking about, I had so much fun, are just delightful. It's like, it was not somebody who got approached to do this sort of thing. And it was like, oh, this is great.
As a kid, because I knew who Count Basie was, but I was so confused why it happened. And it's definitely one of those, when the movie really goes off the rails as far as the reality it's setting, it's very much in the vein of the early Marx Brothers movies I was into as a kid, and definitely Mel influenced by that, where let's break the fourth wall. But I think Mel is the first person to push it as far as he did.
No, he didn't break the fourth wall. Like, the Hulk came through the fourth wall in the end of this film and was just like, there is no fourth wall. Like, I mean, that's still one of the reasons why this film is as successful as it is, but of many, many, many reasons. But go ahead.
Oh no, but yeah. So now he's entering the city, and this is one of the funniest sequences. So the entire town has gathered to welcome the new sheriff. They've got a big sign and a banner, and there's like an old prospector character. What's his name?
Sheriff is in there.
Yeah, and he keeps getting cut off by this big town bell. The sheriff is near. Which is,
he says the sheriff is near. No,
it's so good. And then as he, rides through town slowly on his horse, we get all these reaction shots, which feel very akin to what we see a little bit in The Producers, where it's people reacting in horror to the Hitler musical. Now it's just because there's a black person.
Yes,
it's executed beautifully. And we've got the whole town there, and there's going to be somebody speaking at the school marm, played by Dom DeLuise's wife, whose name I don't remember.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, she's also in all of Mel's movies.
Okay, I didn't know that was his wife. Yeah,
yeah, because I've heard he was a little sweet, at
Mel
least asexual. No,
Dom.
Dom.
He had to have been, right?
I've heard he was asexual and had a happy marriage.
Flies off the radar, like when dealing with Dom.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So we think Dom was a sub.
Even in interviews, you're like, my brother in Christ. You definitely are getting more than just your wife. I'm just saying.
There's
more going on here.
As a kid, I used to mix him up with the fat guy on the seasonings with the little hat with the beard. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. To me, he was always just the laugh.
Oh,
and to me, it was just the post-credit scenes and the Cannonball Run and Smokey and the Bandit and all that stuff, where he's just like him and Burt Reynolds' friendship, which apparently was really kind of amazing. Like their friendship was super strong and great. And like there were times that Burt would like go, "I'm not going to be on this film if Dom DeLuise is not."
Which is a solid move.
I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. And like Burt was a complicated guy and certainly was not like, didn't feel like a big friend of the gays.
Well, he weirdly was.
But maybe, okay.
And I mean, well, not just Dom, but I mean specifically, Charles Nelson Riley. They were very good friends.
No kidding.
And he gave him work. He hired him to be a director at that theater school he opened in Florida. They were very close, which is crazy to think.
Maybe Burt was super closeted. I mean, he was in the most famous Playgirl pictorial that they ever had.
And that's the thing. Like, even as a kid, I'd heard about that and how much he regretted it. I remember him on the Tonight Show.
Snake and all that. Yeah.
But no, he was apparently like, he's a complicated guy, but he seemed like pretty cool as far as like being around gay dudes.
I think he got less complicated and a little more like old shitty old man as he got into his like 60s and 70s.
So I just saw a clip of an interview where the director of that Dukes of Hazzard movie from like 25 years ago.
I forgot that even existed.
So it's the guy from Super Troopers, the Indian gentleman. I don't know his name, but so he had hired him on, and like Burt was not pleasant during the shoot, but he loved Burt because Burt was just kind of insane at that point, where he'd say things like, my back hurts because I did all these stunts, and he threw him a DVD and it just said why Burt's back hurts. And it was a compilation set to classical music of all the stunts he'd done. And he'd say something mean to him and then like apologize.
Dude, Burt was best friends with Hal Needham, who was one of the greatest stuntmen of his era, who became a pretty cool director.
Is that the only time that's happened? A stunt person becoming a movie director?
No, The Matrix.
Wait, The Matrix? Wait, Wachowski?
Both of the stunt people, I forget his name, Chad Stahelski, something like that.
Oh, but they've become Leach, directors?
Who were the lead stunt people on that film, have both become successful directors in their own right.
I had no
Chad
idea.
went on and did most of the sequels. And amongst other films. And David Leitch has done just an absurd shit ton of action movies since then. Like Atomic Blonde was one of the big ones. But
Atomic Blonde.
He's done a ton of them. Like I think he was Nobody, the new Bob Odenkirk one. They're both,
no
but they were stunt people. Like you look at the story of The Matrix, where Keanu Reeves not only gave most of his paycheck to the stunt team, but bought them all like super high end motorcycles. He was like, this movie wouldn't have been successful without these people. They deserve this more than I do. And was just like, but we go on forever about it. Keanu Reeves is the other really, really great guy in Hollywood.
Wait, who is the other?
Mel Brooks.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you bring it.
See how I brought it all back? Yeah, full circle.
So, it turns out Cleavon cannot be broken by these townspeople treating him very shabbily and saying the N-word to him. And he becomes friends with Gene Wilder, who, in the drunk tank is the Waco Kid. And are we awake? We're not sure. Are we black? We're confused, but we're awake. And this natural chemistry between them. And, on the one hand, it would be interesting to think what this would have been as the first collaboration between Richard and Gene. But I feel like Cleavon just brings something real in a way that Richard never really brought as an actor to this, certainly this kind of character.
I don't think Richard would have made a very different movie.
Yes.
Like by the nature of him being in it, because I don't think that it was Mel's direction that informed Cleavon's choices so much as Cleavon himself of like his choice, the way to read this character and his relationship with Gene Wilder. I agree with you.
Yeah. And so we get some great scenes with them meeting each other, but basically what happens is, Harvey, I must call him Harvey Weinstein, Harvey Korman.
Don't do that.
No, but It's like, okay, well, I have something else that can break him. This woman that will seduce him and break his heart, destroy him. And this is the only performance that Mel Brooks directed to an Oscar nomination. So, and it's crazy to even think at this point. So Madeline Kahn, she plays Lily von Stupp, which is such a Mel conceit, and I love it.
Yeah.
And he wrote her a great song. But she auditioned for this part, and she's supposed to be doing basically Marlene Dietrich.
Yeah.
And at the audition, he's like, "Show me your legs," and she's like, "Hey, I don't do that." He's like, "Hey, I'm happily married. You're playing this part."
It's a much sluttier and very heterosexual version of Marlene Dietrich.
Yes. Yes. This version definitely does want to have sex with the man.
Yes.
And Madeline Kahn, we just got to take a second. All right, she's an all-timer. She's an MVP in anything she's in.
Yes.
It is such a tragedy that we're not getting performances of her as a person in her 80s.
Yeah. Because
she had so much in her, and I think her career
she should be in the next season of Only Murders in the Building.
Fuck yes.
All I'm saying.
Yes.
But, you know.
She's someone that I feel like her career was running out of steam by the 90s because she was a woman of a certain age. At least in film and television. She wound up on Cosby's second series, and she's actually really funny in it. Yeah. It's just unfortunately not a really well-written show. But
and also had Bill Cosby in it.
Well, yeah. Later, that became the other issue with it. At first, it was Dougie Doug was in it, and then it became like, well, Bill Cosby's in it. But she was doing great work on stage. She won a Tony in the 90s for the Sisters Rosenzweig. She did some good stuff, but she's someone that as beloved as she is, and as so many iconic performances she's turned in.
Way before this, she was a big stage actress.
Yeah, correct? I mean, she had studied to be an opera singer.
Like, she was a big deal before she was even in this film.
She was in what is it? It's a train musical. It all takes place on a train. They did a revival, and what's her face from 30 Rock plays her part.
Train to Busan. Yeah, the musical is amazing.
It's really depressing though, right at the end. But she's so brilliant, but I think she's also, like Harvey Korman, underappreciated, and I feel like she's not as well remembered these days.
Love
outside
the song
of Clue.
Zombie or Zommaybe. That's like the one that sticks with me.
And the way she does it as a libretto, beautiful,
unbelievable.
So Madeline Kahn, she was one of my first crushes.
No shit.
I remember her from the VHS.
No,
it was a VHS of a clip of her from the 70s on Sesame Street that was released in the 80s. Her singing a song with Grover, and it was like an awakening for me. And since then, I've been chasing that high.
But, you know, you have to remember, she's really tired. She does not, like, they're always coming and going and going and coming.
And always too soon. So everybody, look this up on YouTube. She recreates this for Comic Relief in 1985 or 86. So this is like, a decade plus later, and she does it brilliantly.
Nice.
She's so funny. But she's basically she's working as an escort. Is that what we called them in those days?
No, she's straight up a prostitute.
She's a hooker.
Yeah,
that was maybe
pre-hooker.
Old
West. You
Old
can
West.
say hooker, prostitute, whore. You can say all that because that's what they called it then, and also in the 70s.
Yeah,
you can't say that now. If it was a new movie, we don't say that. But
right,
then,
but it's 70s about a western. Yeah. I'm doing Joey Pants, Joe Pantoliano. She was a hooah, so she's working at this brothel, and she's doing it. She does a great song. Again, I didn't think to look this up, who she lost the Oscar to. Because, I mean, the Oscars don't give awards to comic performances.
It kind of annoys me that Harvey Korman didn't get a nomination because part of the movie is talking about, like, I'm in danger of not getting my Oscar nomination for this
You
role.
will be risking your lives, whilst I will almost be risking a certain Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
It's kind of a shame he didn't get that nomination.
Because the only two I can think of off the top of my head are her in this, Madeline Kahn in this, and then, weirdly, Joan Cusack in and Out was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. Yeah. So, hey, Frank Oz, the only Oscar nominated performance he directed.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But she meets Cleavon Little and is immediately taken with him because he's such a charmer.
Yeah, he's a charmer, but she's still playing along with the plot of, like, you need to seduce him and do all this stuff. And then the lights go out.
Oh boy.
And she unzips the pants. And it gets into the very cliched joke, certainly, of like black people have, more going on.
Is it
down
true
there.
what they say about Yahoo people are gifted?
Well, actually, one of my best friends in the world, Martin Thomas, and we had a bit from way back in the Spill days where we did that, and it got like played 1 billion times on the internet. That conversation back when.
Oh my God.
Where it was like going like, where I'm going, is it true that whole, like, do black people actually have more? He's like, no, man, that's just a myth. Like, we have kinky hair and dark skin.
Martin, you're getting shouted out on this episode of Make a Noise about your penis.
I can only assume it's big. We may be close. We're not that close.
Well, I assume it's as tall as he is.
We peed next to each other, but I've never turned around to check it out.
I've never seen any of my friends' junk.
Really?
I mean, well,
I don't think I have.
I don't think I have. No.
Not any of my friends from this decade.
Well, I mean, there's certainly some friends I had that were like, blurred lines.
Yeah, no, I mean, like when I was in my like teens and 20s, we went fucking like skinny dipping and shit.
See, I've been skinny dipping, but I remember covering myself, my shame in my
area.
area.
I didn't care about any of that.
Well, I was doing it because we were in a lake and it was dark and I thought a snapping turtle would get me.
A snapping turtle?
I had it in my head because I couldn't see what was in the water. It was dark and we were in a lake. I was like, something's going to get me. So I was clutching my crotch like it was my last dollar.
It never occurred to me. I can't count how many times I fucked in some random fucking lake or like a backyard
infections,
pool
baby,
or something. Just like in that period of just like, I don't know, man. Like I just know there's a naked girl here who's like, you want something?
Man, lake water in your
even
stuff.
A couple times a dude, but
Hey, yeah, we've all been young and old. But okay, so but this is the one thing Mel voluntarily cut because he felt like, okay, this is maybe too far. Where after it's twoo, lady, you're sucking on my elbow, and like, it's really not that funny.
No,
it doesn't really.
And also, the joke without that is funnier.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's like it's an old joke, and look, everyone but black people would call it racist. I mean, from what I've been told, it's 100% true. And I've seen enough porn to go, I think it's true. But,
the official stance of Make a Noise.
I'm just like watching you, like, it's funnier the idea that she's like, finally, someone comes along who can keep up with me and give me what I need. Like the whole bit before that is I'm so tired. It's all boring. All men are boring. They just give me the same bullshit. And here comes this guy who's a black guy who's like, I've got it on every level to deliver. And she's like, you sure do. That makes it funnier and it makes you like him even more.
Oh yeah. And the next morning she's making a breakfast and he's like, oh, sorry, honey. 3 Schnitzengrubens is my limit. And she's like, I'm so crazy about you. I can't let you go. And so he goes off and, but I love that scene between
Five.
Oh, 5 Schnitzengrubens. But so, and we've seen Mel a few times, and I do love this very stupid, it's a very Mel kind of joke, that on the back of his suit jacket, it just says Gov. Which is just like, and I officiated a wedding, and I bought a suit, and I was gonna have Rev printed on the back of it, like with big felt letters.
Yeah.
And I finally thought, don't ruin their wedding.
Yeah. No, try not to be the star of someone else's wedding.
It took me a minute,
rule.
but I got there. I got there.
Good rule.
But so she didn't work. So it was okay. Beauty didn't work. Beast is next.
I do want you to know that I've officiated a lot of weddings in my time, and I had one wedding that they did in fact ask me, we want you to start this by saying marriage.
Oh God, really?
I got to do that.
Well, now
it was a highlight of my life.
Oh God, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely when I got married the first time, and we'll see what happens later. But I really wanted to do something like that, like, okay, Princess Bride, or there was a whole thing with, okay, what if when we make our, maybe we thank everybody at the reception, but at the table with all of our people, we do the Beetlejuice banana boat thing, and we all start doing that, and we just couldn't make any of our lazy fat friends learn the choreography.
You watch like videos online where people are like, "Oh, we're doing a fucking like Thriller or something," and you're just like, "Man, I can't imagine getting any of my friends organized enough to do."
It's really like, oh, never mind. It's already irritating. You have to be here.
Like you watch like romantic comedies and stuff, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going through all this stuff before the wedding." I'm like, I have never met anyone in my life who was willing to do that stuff, even the married couple.
No, yeah, it was one of those things. In theory, we talked about it like that would be fun, and like, oh no, we're just gonna.
It's more like for the weddings I've done was more like what music will we play that will be funny, and how can we change the vowels that will be amusing, not like we're gonna do something super elaborate like that. Yeah. And like that same couple walked down the aisle to the award ceremony music by John Williams from the original Star Wars.
I like that. All right. Yeah. And now, then my next few, I'm going to be more experimental. My marriage is definitely like
you should try and like piece it out per marriage. Try something. If it doesn't work, save it for the next marriage. Like what you do. Yeah.
Well, I did tell Wright that if I do get married again, that he will be my best man again, and his speech needs to be, "It's good to see everybody again." It's something like that. It should open with something like that.
Also, very like narcissistic of Wright to assume.
His speech was so long and rambling. I only mention it now really because he did reference Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft, because there's that quote that Anne has about like, when I hear his key in the door, I know the party's about to start. I thought it was very sweet that he brought that up, but also it was like his speech was over 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. His speech was longer than the ceremony.
I'm sitting right here. And can you imagine how funny it would be if you picked me? And then I had this brilliant speech, which I'm quite good at, for the record. And I'm like,
you got dibs on my next marriage.
I literally own 8 books on like marriage, like stuff.
Oh, really?
Like how to do like perform marriage and how to do stuff and how to write things for it and everything, because I did it so many times. I was just like, I should buy some books to be better at this, because I don't want to fuck up somebody's fucking experience.
Well, you're in the lead now, because he didn't do any sort of practice research. He was improvising.
Yeah, we know, right?
Yeah. He was winging it, and it was like,
he was winging it. I'll be great. It's biggest, like public access, but a marriage.
The biggest tell was, and my dad is the sweetest man in the world, he looked at his watch. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
The world has spoken. So Harvey Korman's whole thing is beauty has failed, so now it's time for beasts. So this is Mongo coming in. He's sent to basically just beat up the entire town with his bare hands.
Now, what was the sitcom that actor was a big part of?
Webster.
Yeah, he was the dad on Webster. Yeah, and I was like watching it and going like, shit, I forgot. I meant to look it up, and I was like, fuck, I know. Looking at the name, I'm like, shit, I know he was on a big show.
Alex Karras.
Like Webster was like we're not different strokes, but we got ourselves a glandularly deficient black kid.
So it does feel close enough. It's one of those meetings the network has where it's like, well, what's popular now? Like, black people with dwarfism. Yeah. We need a new one.
It wasn't even dwarfism.
Well, right. It's a different thing. Yeah. I'm just being ableist.
But it was like,
but not racist, it wasn't because I watched Blazing Saddles.
Same glandular deficiency, but it was like similar, that has the same effect, that they're always going to be tiny and like, undeveloped.
And he was like an orphan and a rich white family adopted. It was the same premise, I guess.
But it's so funny. Like, he's such like a nice guy on there. And then watching him here is like the big dumb bruiser. I love Mongo.
He's so funny.
I love Mongo so much that it always makes me mad they cut out the more Looney Tunes stuff. That's always that now you can see if you have any of the like last 5 releases of this on the deleted scenes, they show a series of like, this is just them doing Bugs Bunny Looney Tunes like versions of them trying to defeat Mongo.
Yeah.
Like doing the exact same bits.
That aired on the TV cuts in those days. Because they had to cut out so much.
But that's when I first watched this, was on TV. And so that's the version I was used to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was always like, where's the fucking thing? That's the thing I always remember those. And I'm kind of wish they would just like have a version that's just like, we included these back in. You don't have to watch them on deleted scenes.
Right.
Because to me, those are part of the movie.
Because there's like an underwater sequence too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is very. They even have the da 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 da.
Yeah.
But there's a great.
Have you ever seen The Villain? with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, and Kirk Douglas.
Yes, and
so I've
Kirk
never
Douglas.
seen it, but I am aware of it.
I have no idea when or if it will become available to see again anywhere, but I remember watching that when it came out in theaters, and that is basically this sequence from the movie as an entire film.
Right, it's like just a straight cartoon.
It's
right?
a Western where, like, live action Western, where the whole thing is just a Bugs Bunny cartoon live action.
Right.
Just one sequence after another of like, this is what happened in Bugs Bunny cartoons.
I love that.
Yeah, with these two huge actors. And like, yeah, I kind of want to see it again just to see, is this any good? Because I remember as a kid, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's one I've always heard about, and I feel like its reputation is pretty good from those people that know it.
Yeah, but I honestly don't know the last time anyone got to see it or it was available to see anywhere. Maybe it's on Tubi or something.
I feel like it's probably, if it's not on Tubi, it's probably on YouTube that somebody just uploaded.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I do love that we have that ability. Like, I have now seen so much crap that I never would have seen. Like, thank God you recorded this off of television 40, 50 years ago, and I can watch this now with commercials.
Right. Yeah, sometimes the commercials are what I miss the most.
Oh, I have a box set of Johnny Carson's Tonight Show from the 70s. So it's a full 90-minute episodes, but you can watch it with the original commercials.
That's cool.
And I love that.
That's very cool.
Because some of the stuff they're selling is just cancer. Or it just...
Most of...
Well, actually everything. Even Johnny. There's a great line that Mongo has that Richard Pryor wrote. Mel has always said this. Mongo, only pawn in game of life.
That is the line I remember the most from this film.
Isn't that weird?
That
Me
is
too.
my most quoted line from this film. Mongo, only pawn in great game of life. I love it. No bit like he's chained to the cell after they defeated him through, admittedly, a very Looney Tunes-ish type bit that stays in the movie. And they throw water on him to wake him up. And in just yawning, he just easily, like they're made of toilet paper, breaks through the chains. Love it.
And now he's on the sheriff's side. He's like, Mongo likes sheriff. And Gene says, like, oh, he's sweet on you. And he's like, no, Mongo straight.
Mongo straight. Yeah.
But God, so we've got that happening. Then what's the next step in the film? I swear I watched this 2 nights ago, and also I've seen it 100 times.
Well, a lot of it is just like him, like we missed the whole point where he slowly is convincing the townspeople that he's worthwhile.
Right.
It's not like the scene where he's like, goes to the old lady on the street and is like, well, good morning to you, ma'am. And she's like, up yours, N-word.
Man.
Those words.
Yeah. As a kid, I remember just being shocked to hear it because I knew the word.
Yeah.
But even now,
yeah,
I've seen people try to like, well, you know, that word is just like any other word, but they won't say it. It's like the reason you're not saying it is because it's not like any other word.
You know what? Like black people can say it in a movie where it makes sense to say it in the context of the film. It can feel awkward even for black people to say it if it's the context is weird.
Yeah.
Right? White people can say it only in the context where it's about the usage of the word itself. Where it's like, we are specifically trying to say something about like white people saying it and what that's about. And for anyone to question that, you probably shouldn't be doing criticism.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
You like missed the point entirely and you're clearly not good at this and you should just back away and stop.
Well, you know, one of the things we were talking about with the movie feeling current and fresh because so much of this is stuff that we're still dealing with, and certainly more now as the culture has swung in a certain direction.
Apparently not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah. But so my grandfather is black. Now he's my step grandfather, but he's been my grandfather since before I was born. Like he and my grandmother got together, and like hearing the stories that he has about growing up, it's very weird because on the one hand, what works about this movie, it's, taking place in the Old West, but is about modern day America. Mm. And that still we can look at this movie that takes place in the Old West and it's modern day America, because something about my grandfather, I mean, he grew up in the 30s in Mississippi, Louisiana, but that it was being able to talk to someone that lived through that made it all very real and present. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's probably a lot of people that don't have that. Mm. And it does feel like it's a black and white photo. You're seeing pictures of, Martin Luther King, or that young woman in the integrated school, that famous one where she's being shouted at. It feels like very distant, but my God, it's so recent.
It really is. And I think one of the things that actually makes Blazing Saddles work as well as it does even today is that breaking of the fourth wall, the constant of like, they're referencing the worldwide of sports, which was like at the time the television
How
show.
it goes sell.
Clearly there wasn't television. The unmistakableness of the film that this is not supposed to actually be in the Wild West. This is like a modern day commentary on all of these racial things. It never stops reminding you of that. This is silly. It's supposed to be silly, but we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
That's why it works. Like, yes, simple as that.
Yeah.
Like constant reminding, like we haven't even gotten to the third act where it's like, yeah, okay, now we're like, this is decidedly taking place now.
Right. So basically, Harvey Korman is talking to Slim Pickens, and now the next step in the plan
is that his real name?
As far as I assume it's not his birth name, but that's what he's known as. Actually,
crazy. Who would want to be known as Slim Pickens? It feels like the last guy to hook up at the dance. Just saying,
It's what did George Carlin say? It's like show business is like a gangbang, except in show business everybody wants to go on first.
Yeah.
or last.
Yeah,
I blew it. God damn it! The show's over.
As you had it, your previous gangbangs.
Well, I did, yeah. I blew it. So.
Sorry, that was a really obvious joke, and I apologize for it.
No, we're on a Mel Brooks podcast. The obvious joke is celebrated.
You're right. You're right.
We're not here for the rapier. We're here for the sledgehammer. That's
yes.
Mel.
Yes, it is.
And that's my approach to life. And I know it doesn't work in all situations, but I would much rather be big and loud than clever.
But you also do it in a sledgehammer of guys in like the 50s. Which is a very different type of sledgehammer.
Well, I'm offended because I feel like I'm in the 30s, but if we're in the 50s,
50s, 40s, 30s,
wherever it was segregated.
Hey, you would have step grandfather was black.
I know, but just
basically makes you black.
But just my hair is thick, but there's definitely
it's definitely not curly.
But there's definitely like for some reason a media like appetite and love I have is for some reason in an era where like, oh, there's a lot of stuff I have to forgive. Like growing up, it's like, I can't wait to watch this great Fred Astaire, Bing Crosby musical. And it's like, oh, here's the blackface scene.
By the way, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I don't know why I thought of this. There was this joke I remember hearing when I was a kid that it took me 10 years to understand it was, why is pubic hair curly?
Oh, I don't know.
So it doesn't poke your eyes out.
You heard that as a kid?
I had no idea what that meant. And there was nowhere to look it up.
Oh, sure.
You couldn't Google it.
Go to the library.
I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? It drove me crazy for so long. Like, I don't know. Why would, if it was straight, poke your eyes out? I don't understand. What does that even mean? And then, you get to be a teenager. You're like, oh, it still doesn't make sense.
It's like, oh, I have glasses. I don't get it.
Anyway, I don't know why that came in my head, but it did. So,
do you remember where you heard that or why?
No, I was like a little kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
right. So
was it a priest?
I grew up in Virginia. We didn't have a lot of priests in our circle growing up.
And they were all clean shaven.
Surprise no one. But no, I mean, like I grew up in Virginia. There was a lot of like older guys who were friends of your dad who delighted in telling you dirty jokes they shouldn't be telling you,
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Who probably, if I'd stuck around, would have tried to put their hand on me. And
I was going to say, it's very like Chris Hansen.
And then go to church afterwards.
Prescient for that movie Primetime that's coming out.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about.
I'm kind of curious about it.
Yeah. Did you watch that documentary about...
I did. It's a good documentary.
I loved it.
Yeah, really good.
Complicated.
I don't know that it needed a adaptation of this sort. I was like, really? Not really sure this calls for this, but maybe if they find their way to do it, I don't know.
It's something I don't think needs to exist, but now that it does, I'm curious. And I really like Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was like the Facebook movie, The Social Network.
Oh, sure.
When they said it was coming out, I was like, but why? Why do I want, no part of me wants to see this. I have no interest in this. And then you saw it and we're like, oh, that was really fucking good.
Well, and what I will say, I think that movie, and I love that this is now the topic on the Mel podcast, but what I want to say is I think because the documentary does paint the full portrait, the complicated of like we're exploiting, and this is not law enforcement, this is some other thing.
Mhm.
I think more people will see a dramatized version of that released as a movie and maybe learn something rather than a documentary.
Hopefully. No, I agree with you. More people will watch that. There's a star, and they like that star. I'll watch anything Robert Pattinson did. I love Twilight.
Yeah.
I don't know who that person is.
This is the skin of
they grew up. But
this is the skin of a pedophile, Bella. Which he is. I mean, he's an old man dating a teenager.
In what?
In
Twilight. Yeah, no, he's like a really old man dating a teenager. The rules are different for vampires.
Okay.
I'm just
Officer.
Saying. No, I'm saying they're fictional creatures. At least that's what I'm saying here.
Mm-hmm.
And
I haven't seen you age since we met.
And, there's a point you're just like, what? I can't hook up with anybody anymore? Is not a vampire? This is some bullshit.
Because everything is like an age gap relationship when you're a vampire.
That being said, you're still like, yes, I'm stuck in the body of somebody who was like, you're Robert Pattinson, stuck in the body of a high school body, but you're still like, but you could probably hook up with somebody in their 20s.
Yeah. It's like you're still probably watching 60 Minutes.
But, when you've been live for 100 some years, you're probably like 20, 16. What's the fucking difference? And to be fair, I kind of get that.
All right. We're going to isolate that.
When you're like 100 years old and still in that body, you'd be like, why do I give a shit? Like if something doesn't work out, I'll just kill everyone.
This is the exact conversation I had with my 28-year-old girlfriend.
This is an actual reading of the Epstein files.
A dramatized version.
Dramatized version from the Epstein files.
Hidden in this Mel Brooks podcast. But so Harvey Korman is like, we're going to get the biggest group of thugs, bugs. He's like doing all these little rhymes, whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's a mix of like Klansmen. They do a reference to the treasure of the Sierra Madre, where it's like, badges, we don't need to think of badges.
Which is one of the moments in the film that always feels a little awkward to me. Like that became so much more of his whole oeuvre later, which is one of the things that bugs me about his later films. It's like, and much like all the satire films afterwards, where it's like just nonstop references to other things. It's like, that's one of those like, okay, the whole movie stops for this. And you don't realize it if you're not really familiar with the Treasure Sierra Madre, but like it is the most famous line from that film.
What's funny? So my boss at my current job, so maybe we'll cut this out. He referenced that, but he has never heard of or seen that movie, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Uh-huh.
He was specifically referencing Blazing Saddles because he has no other reference for it. He just thinks it's a line from this movie, which is so crazy to think, because if you don't know what that is, like as a kid, I didn't.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a weird moment.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't watch that, the Bogart movie till way later.
But like being a like almost 50-year-old man and not knowing that and saying that to me, and I didn't explain it to him.
You're almost 50?
No. My boss.
Oh.
I'm 17.
Okay.
Chris Hansen's about to walk in the room.
Unbelievable.
I'm 40.
I did prepare some iced tea just in case.
Do you remember there was an episode of Catch a Predator where the guy's like housing the pizza, like just eating it, and Chris Hansen's trying to talk to him, and he's like, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to eat this whole fucking pizza.
Was that in the documentary, that sequence? I feel like
it
was.
is.
Just like,
because that's what I was
like, that's the right reaction. That is exactly the right thing to do.
Classic stress eating.
You're just, it's like the most rational stress eating you could have. You're just like, fuck, I'm fucked, but I got one last pizza in me. I'm going to enjoy every second of it.
But so Harvey Korman is now auditioning all these people coming through. He gets that great line about how he's risking an Oscar nomination. Yeah. And
meanwhile, you got Gene Wilder and Cleavon Little hiding behind her. We got to figure out a way to stop this with one of the other most memorable lines for this movie that is quoted in a way that isn't always quoted in the best way, but is such a memorable line where he's like, hey, look who I got over here, and pulls out Cleavon Little. Hey, where all the white woman at?
Oh, that's right. He goes, oh, boys, look over here. Yeah, with this fake Southern accent. But and then we get them beating those Klansmen up, putting on the garb, and then going through the line. And then when they like, wait a second, and pull his Cleavon's hands out, and then Gene's like, oh, it's a weekly crossburn, and he didn't scrub himself.
Yes.
But oh gosh. So from there,
yes. So like that plan doesn't work, is what it comes down to. Like that's their plan they have to infiltrate that. It doesn't work.
mm-hmm.
So then you get into the bigger, the third act. Now we're going to break the fourth wall in a way that is unmistakable for the entirety of the fourth act, which is let's build a whole fake version of the town, which you're watching and you're going, even back then, you're like, this is just the town they built for the actual film.
Right.
You're just seeing it from behind where you can see the back of the sets that are built.
And the pastor's like, oh Lord, give these people the strength to build this town. Or can you do it, or are we just jerking off? And they build the whole town so that then they can trick the guys, the whole crew into running and like beating them up instead. So the one thing I do want to mention, because we referenced it earlier, is there's a moment in the movie where, Mel had always thought, you watch old Westerns, everyone's always eating cans of beans and drinking coffee.
Oh, the fart scene.
Yeah, the fart scene.
Yeah.
And so there's this sequence, and even when I was a kid watching it on TV, they would cut the farts out.
Which is
so
crazy.
It's just all these guys getting up. It's like a little dance. There's no reason for it to happen. And then you see somebody, Slim Pickens, come out and sniff. And it's like, how about some more beans, Mr. Taggart? I'd say you had enough.
Look, I have always been of the viewpoint that fart and poop jokes in a movie outside, if there's no bigger context of them outside of that, they're just not funny.
They're lazy.
This is the first fart joke sequence in a movie ever, and it's still kind of funny. Like I watch it,
the
and
last 50 plus years.
I still laugh watching this scene. I go like, I don't know what it is. This shouldn't. I'm almost mad at myself that I still find this funny, but it's still funny. And it is remarkable how much has been talked about this scene, how much it set people's hair on fire in ratings departments about the fact that it was there. Can you imagine? Now that's in every kid's cartoon ever. Like farting is just normal business. Like no one is upset about farts ever.
Every kid's movie needs a fart in it now.
Exactly.
To get greenlit.
Farts are by definition a kid joke now. And back then it was like, no, that's too adult. But again, as we were saying earlier, it was like, yeah, so is showing a toilet. That toilets existed. No one needs to know that.
Yeah.
But, I feel like sometimes you need to look at things like this and contextualize how recently that really was. Like, we're not that different as people now as we were then. And the fact that we're still doing the exact same shit, just about different things.
Right.
We're still going like, no, we refuse to acknowledge facts, that the human mind is so capable of just saying, I refuse to acknowledge obvious things that are easy to have access to. I mean, this is, sorry, not to get political, but that's who I am now. The Trump presidency in its entirety. It's just like, I said this thing. See, that's the thing. You can look that up very easily through any number of accredited sources and find out that's not true.
Right.
Absolute refusal to acknowledge that is. The human mind is incredibly capable of self-deception, of just like denying that anything is real. And if you need more proof than the fact that just a few decades ago, we were like, toilets don't exist. You're not allowed to show toilets on film.
And now a toilet's president.
Yeah, right?
Because that's the thing. It's like a Mel Brooks podcast is going to be inherently political just because of his style and him talking about how the way that you shout down these fascists is by making fun of them. And it's interesting during the producers episode, because Mel has always talked about, Hitler, we need to make fun of him and shrink him. But
yeah, his comments about Hitler and his experience with other Jewish creators who were very unsure about his approach with Hitler, especially with Springtime for Hitler and stuff in the producers, is fascinating.
Yeah.
And very informative about the nature of comedy.
Yeah.
Like really, really interesting stuff. And Mel was right. Like, as it turned out, he was absolutely right of like, the secret is not to ignore it and 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 turn your head away. The secret is to indulge in it and absolutely make fun of them. It's The Onion is the modern Mel in that sense,
Yeah. And that's something too that I feel very strongly about, but at the same time, living through what we're living through.
Mm-hmm.
So I question Mel's approach sometimes, because sometimes I'm like, well, we're all making fun of him, but things are still getting worse.
I mean, it's cyclical, but I would say in some ways things have improved. It's not as bad in many ways. Yeah. You have to also go back and say, like, how openly your average person was wildly racist, like even 30 years ago, as opposed to now where it really is a little more niche-y.
Yeah.
A lot more niche-y.
Yeah. Just the government now.
Yeah.
But so when this whole crew of people attack the town, they're being ambushed by the townspeople.
Yeah.
And this bar fight, or like old Western bar fight, basically breaks into the commissary at Warner Brothers. Yeah. And this is when the movie, and I can only imagine sitting and watching it happen for the first time at a theater when a movie hadn't really done exactly this before.
Had done nothing like this
where you're like,
before.
What?
Like, this was, as far as I know, entirely new.
Yeah.
Like I would have to Google fourth wall breaking and be like, how many times has this happened and to what degree? But I would say, like, I have to believe that to this degree of it, this was, no one had ever seen anything like this before.
Not that I can think of, because certainly fourth wall breaking, like I mentioned, the Marx Brothers, Groucho was really the first in a movie to stop and not only acknowledge that we're in a movie, but talk to the audience, like, go wait in the lobby, things like that. But this is so different.
But by that time, that shit had already happened 7 or 8 times in this movie.
Yeah.
It just with even like that degree, like bringing, like, even with like references to modern day stuff that is clearly not of this time, had happened 20 or 30 times before this. And for them to go like this bar fight explodes into the outside of the set as the camera pulls back from the set and shows that it's just in the middle of fucking like Hollywood.
That's
and
so good.
They explode into like a Busby Berkeley musical being directed by Dom DeLuise.
His second Mel Brooks appearance, because he's in the 12 Chairs.
With a huge amount of gay guys who are dancing and singing. And one of my favorite scenes where like a gay guy and a cowboy get into a fight and fall back into like a dark area and come back, and then they're talking about where they're going to get lunch together.
It's like, oh, I'm parked over by the commissary.
They hook up.
And there's such a funny line that I have said over the years that Dom says that I can't repeat on air, but it's like, watch me, and it's a word. It's a slur.
Yeah.
But he's so funny in this. Throw out your hands, stick out your tush, The French Mistake. Another Mel song for this movie.
Mel song, yep.
But yeah, the whole thing, in the commissary, we got to have Hitler somewhere in the movie. All of his movies. So there's a guy, he's about to take like a bite of a sandwich. They lose me after the bunker scene. And he's dressed like Hitler with a Brooklyn accent.
Yep.
And then they do the great pie fight, basically. And so Hedy Lamarr.
I love one of my favorite things growing up as a kid was always like, if there was any indication there might be a pie fight, everything stopped. I was just like, oh shit, there's going to be a pie fight.
Oh yeah.
And I am still to this day deeply sad that has never happened to me. The closest it came, and I swear to God, this is true. In middle school, I had a group of geek friends, and we watched all these movies all the time. That's all we did was talk about movies like this and comedians and things. And we're like, we're talking about Animal House, right? Mm-hmm. And that amazing food fight in there.
Yes.
And the legendary, John Belushi food fight. And we're like, I just want to have that happen once. And it wasn't me. I didn't start it. One of the other guys took a fucking handful of mashed potatoes.
Oh my God.
And there's a guy down at the end of the table, and he just fucking tossed it in his face. And he jumped up on the table and screamed, "Food fight!" And it happened. The whole cafeteria exploded, and everyone in there was waiting for this moment. From no matter what group they were from, they had all seen Animal House. They weren't supposed to. None of us were supposed to. It was a rated R film. We had all seen Animal House. And everybody wanted to live through a world where there was a food fight. And that food fight fucking happened. we all got detention. Everyone at that period of cafeteria time got detention. Worth every second of that week.
Oh my God.
It was every person was standing up on tables and throwing all their food on the at each other, and it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. This is so amazing. It can happen, but it wasn't pies. It's not the same. Cream pies.
Well, I've had some of those in my day, but man,
just saying, different type of cream pie. Different type of cream pies.
Yeah.
No.
Not Three Stooges style.
Yeah.
Not the way I do it.
Yeah. No. I don't want to hear any more about that.
Knucklehead.
Only because it's you.
You know, I feel like I've talked to the first person I've ever spoken to that lived. Because I've wanted that my whole life.
It was amazing.
It's never happened.
I got in so much trouble. My parents were so mad at me. I was covered head to toe in food. I was delighted. No part of me felt guilty or bad about it at all. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get in trouble. There's a point you're like, we're all in trouble. I don't give a fuck. This is awesome. It was awesome.
What you're thinking also is the inner monologue of everybody on To Catch a Predator.
Do you have a pizza?
Should I do that for my birthday?
What?
Should I rent us out a place not to catch
Have
a predator, but do a food fight?
Somebody comes out like 50 cream pies.
It's the Jim Henson voiceover on Sesame Street when the guy falls down the stairs. Oh my God.
That would be amazing. Just like a bunch of aluminum plate.
Yes, a classic.
Custard cream pies. And everybody just grabs custard cream pies and you do the thing, you smush them into some other people's faces. And
what location can I rent for that to happen?
Oh my God. So amazing.
Oh boy. I might have my plan for my birthday.
Sounds like your next wedding reception, to be fair.
Maybe number 3.
Well, number 4 will follow pretty fast after that.
That's true, yeah. And then 5 will be my nurse. From all the diabetes, from all the pies I've been creaming.
You don't have to eat it.
Well, that's not where I come from. We clean our plate or our face.
Fair.
But so, okay, we've got the whole. This is I think the sequence that sets the movie apart from anything that came before it. It's so funny, and it's to this day, and movies have tried to copy it. It's never going to be like this. It's
never worked. It's so batshit insane. It works because all the sequences in and of themselves work and have jokes that work in them.
Right.
And then Harvey Keitel running to
Corman. Harvey Keitel would be
interesting. Harvey Korman.
There'd be more N-words.
Running to a movie theater that is playing the movie Blazing Saddles.
Grauman's Chinese theater in those days.
Yeah, as it's currently happening, and watches like the sheriff show up outside the theater in the movie and go, "Oh shit!" Like, it's so weirdly meta. It may be one of the first meta sequences in a film.
He spits that candy out. It's like, oh shit! That's so. The way he does that is one of my favorite things about this movie.
It's just so perfect, and the fact that it ends with them riding off the sunset, and then they stop because their limo pulls up, and they get off their horses and get in the limo, and then drive off. Oh my God, that's just. Kiss cherry on the cake.
That moment where Gene Wilder, he's got to go off into the sun. Oh, that's right. No, he's hanging out. He's eating popcorn though from Grauman's Chinese theater.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite bits though is when Harvey Korman's character is defeated. He falls, but he lands just on Errol Flynn, and he goes, "How did he do such amazing? He's done it with such tiny feet."
Yeah.
But so then now
such a Mel Brooks, like, I've always wondered that. Like, I'm just gonna throw this in the movie, even though it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Well, like, I'm gonna throw this in the movie anyway just to do it.
But Mel Brooks' fascination with just movie stars and celebrity and entertainment, and his whole thing, I love when he finally, which is shocking it took that long, got his handprints in the cement. He had that prosthetic put on his hand, so when people look at it, he has 6 fingers on one hand.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, so he did that, and he immediately went on Conan when Conan had his TBS show, and he shows it. So he has this little prosthetic on, so he's like, yeah, I want people to come in from the Midwest and like
What the fuck?
Does Mel Brooks have 6 fingers? So
That's
his is the
awesome.
only one that has 6 fingers on one hand.
That is awesome. Even more deep respect for a man who deserves nothing but your deep respect.
Oh,
and
yeah.
again, this is coming from someone I'm like, I don't even like most of his movies, but like the man himself, he really is a genius and a deeply compassionate, understanding guy in Hollywood who was so much more than this type of comedy.
Mhm.
I mean, to remind you guys, he's pretty much the reason that you got David Lynch. If you're a David Lynch fan, like
Right.
he's the guy who's like talked the studio and giving him an Elephant Man. He's the guy who got Cronenberg The Fly.
Right.
Like he has developed so many people who are not Mel Brooks type of people from what you think of Mel Brooks at all, because he recognized talent in a way well outside of the things that he personally did.
Yeah.
And he was so good at it, and he was so kind about it. And like, as famously with The Elephant Man, he's like, don't put my name on the movie, because
Same with The Fly.
yeah, and The Fly, like people will like think it's supposed to be funny. And I
Mhm.
don't want people to think that. This is not that. I don't like, I'll take my paycheck. It's fine. You know, like I don't need my name associated. He was a guy who went from like going like, I will do anything I can to get attention, to being like, I've got the attention. And now I realize I kind of want other people to get attention, you know, like
famously with The Elephant Man, they did a screening for executives, and they were told, hey, we don't like the opening in this, like that shot of the elephant in black and white, a few things. And Mel Brooks stood up and said, we're not changing a note of the movie, and we're in a business agreement. And so don't confuse this situation we're in right now as us soliciting feedback, rather than just showing you where we are in this business agreement. And David Lynch didn't have any pull.
No,
he was nobody. And I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, they met every day to have lunch at Bob's Big Boy.
He was a little art film student. Like, have you seen his first film?
And then Mel loved it,
like,
which I love.
Mel freaked the fuck out over it. And so did a lot of people, to be fair, in Hollywood, who were like, but everyone was like, I have no idea what we would do with this guy.
Yeah.
Like this is fascinating and groundbreaking, but he's not sellable. What do you do with him?
But
and
Mel could see it.
Brooks found a way and saw a way to do it. Yeah, like Lynch was always like, I owe everything to him in many ways.
Yeah.
Of like, he's the guy who gave me my opening to the system. And then after that, mysteriously, the system didn't shut him out. It seems weird, but like he made one bizarre movie after another. And even like with Dune, which was a huge bomb, he still like got another chance and became known as the weird guy that still sold tickets.
Yeah.
Like studio executives are like, we have no idea why this works, but there's a point you just go, just let David Lynch be David Lynch. What are you going to do?
And their relationship especially I find fascinating, because Mel is, to the American public, a lowbrow who turns low comedy into high art, but he's still lowbrow and broad, burlesque, whatever. But he's actually incredibly well-read, intelligent. He appreciates art, but that's not who he wants to be perceived as. So he has a very specific, structured personality he presents, not just artistically, but just as a person.
Yeah.
And I find that really interesting and fascinating. And like, it's something that reminds you, okay, well, people can't be boiled down to one thing. As an artist, Mel can be, drawn to certain things, and we can treat him as such. Like Mel has a reputation as an artist, a writer, comedian, whatever. But boy, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of universes in him, and he is really, like you say, supported so many artists that wouldn't exist. And that's something too. I think that's a sign of a good person, because as big as Mel's ego is, it's not like the sun. Other people can have, places in the solar system.
Yes. No, he recognized talent, and I think he recognized he was really into talent that was outsider talent, because he was outsider talent.
Yeah.
And his appreciation of things wasn't limited to the stuff he made. He liked all kinds of stuff, famously with like all types of art, like Yeah. He was like, it's weird to me. Can you imagine seeing like the first Lynch film in theaters and Mel Brooks is sitting next to you just dying in happiness and going, holy shit, that's Mel Brooks and he is having the time of his life and not knowing what to do with that?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, what does this mean? I feel like it means something.
It's similar to what I always think of as John Waters is like, you have to have good taste to have bad taste.
Yes.
That Mel has a very specific world he came from, and that's how he expresses himself, but he appreciates a lot more than that. And I think that's a good lesson for all of us, is like, we should appreciate points of view that are not ours.
Yes.
And I think right now, especially, that's something we should be thinking about.
Unless it involves being a racist.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not good, but it will get you elected. But Chris,
very well said.
Oh,
for the record. Like, that's a great way to, kind of wrap this up.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And of course, usually at this point, it's like, well, if you want to see this person or hear this person, come to this or that. It's like, he owns it. He's daddy.
Nonstop.
He's constantly here. It's honestly frustrating because he's part of everything. Like
not everything.
No, he's got a gun on the table right now, and that's why he's here.
Oh,
but
Betty?
He's definitely a Waco kid.
Betty is good. Betty won't hurt you. Betty is fine.
Wait, if you had a gun, would that be the name?
Yeah, of course.
Why Betty?
I don't know. Just because I decided that right now.
Okay.
Sounded good. Why do you gotta ruin the joke?
Well, no, I'm not ruining the joke. I'm deepening it.
What do you mean?
The way Mel might deepening. Oh, you're right.
Oh, you're right.
I'm in denial.
You're right. It's not on the table. Hold on. Pull it out.
There we go.
There you go. It's a Glock.
But thank you so much.
Yeah.
And also for letting me do the show. Because, Mel Brooks is not necessarily on page 6. So I'm appreciative that we're doing this. Look, and highlighting his stuff.
There was a point I went, we're a movie and TV review show. And like, we were trying other stuff. And I was like, you know what? We're a movie and TV show. And so where do we go from there other than new stuff? And I was like, we've been working with some very, very talented people long enough.
Who?
That's a good point. I don't know.
Frank.
Oh, wait, you. Yeah. Sorry.
I thought you meant Frank. Yeah.
No, Frank too. I was like, what? Just open up to people saying, like, if you're willing to put the work in to develop a concept for a mini series of a show, but about a specific subject, then that's what we'd like to do. I think that'd be great. And honestly, it's been great for the site. And it's been great for me listening to them. And I'm excited about doing more of them. We have more on the way. We have and I'm assured this is actually happening. And soon that our girl Kate Chambers is doing a show, a Horse Girls show.
Yes.
Just movies about girls and their horses, which of course I made the joke of like, so we're going to start with the Catherine the Great biopic,
boy.
of course. And she was like, that's not funny.
Apparently it was painful.
Apparently a myth didn't actually happen.
Myth. No, I've heard it's a myth.
Oh my God. The first guy ever.
Hey, it's from the Muppet movie. That's what I'm doing.
I do it constantly. Every time someone says myth, I go, myth. And hope they go, yeah.
Yeah.
They never have. And you reversed it on me, and I knew what to say, and I'm so happy right now.
I've got a Big Bird tattoo. That's how we got here. But yeah, we've got so much good stuff, and I want to thank Wright, my producer, who just walked through the room, and he looks a little drunk and tired, and he looks mad that I'm still recording. I know. But yeah, I always have such a good time hanging out with you, recording with you, of course.
Yeah.
Hanging out with you, though, when we can say all kinds of stuff that all the townspeople are saying that we can't record.
What's funny is when Wright and I first started becoming friends, he was like genuinely a little worried if we would get along.
Really? Why?
Because you're his best friend. And he's like, Eric's a little picky. Sometimes he doesn't like people. And what am I going to do if Eric doesn't like Chris? I'm a little worried about this.
Who don't I like?
But
I'll read off the list. Hold on.
We hit it off like gangbusters.
We did. We gang banged in front of him.
Part of it is that I'm old enough that I get all your references.
That's, I think, the biggest thing is not since my grandmother passed have I talked to someone who knows what I'm talking about.
Well,
not to
take on the voice of an old drunk from a 40s Western. Well, Eric, I remember back when Laurel and Hardy did their thing. Now I'm going into Matthew McConaughey again. I'm sorry.
So this whole episode has been about Gene Wilder and Cleavon Little's friendship in the film.
So amazing.
As us.
Yeah.
And so who's Cleavon and who's Gene?
Well, I can safely assume I'm not Cleavon.
Well, hold on. Oh, it's true. It's true. I'm Cleavon.
I'm just assuming by dick size alone.
Well, thank you, folks. I forgot I did this on the last episode, so now I have to do it for all of them. I'm calling it MBP, Mel Brooks Valuable Player.
Oh, nice.
MBPV, whatever.
Yeah,
HPV.
Sure. I know what you meant.
Who's
that's like a disease.
Well, yeah. So who's your favorite character actor? Like actor performance from this film?
Oh, yeah, Cleavon Little for sure. Yeah, 100%. He is. It's also such a unique, singular performance. Like, name another Cleavon Little film that anyone talks about, because there isn't one. Sure. He's in other films, but nowhere near as big a role, and he died pretty young.
He did, yeah.
And like, it just never took off for him. But this is such a unique, incredibly strong, wildly memorable performance. You just love him. You watch it, if like this is the first time watching it, you'll go, God, what else can I see this guy in? I hate to tell you, nothing that's going to make you feel the same way as this did.
He was the original co-star in the Broadway production of I'm Not Rappaport.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in the movie, he'd been too sick, and so was Ossie Davis, who's brilliant in the movie. But man, it would have been a nice like end cap to his career to be in that, because I like that movie. It's a great play.
I've never seen either one.
So on stage, it was Judd Hirsch, Cleavon Little. Movie version, Ossie Davis and Walter Matthau.
I did see Ossie Davis play JFK, and he was great.
He was great in that.
He was great.
And I believe that's what happened. Well, Chris, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure, and we'll be next time discussing Young Frankenstein.
It's an honor to have been on the show with you, as it always is to be an honor with the podcast with you. It's truly remarkable to look inside your mind.
Oh, my doctor says the same thing, but he's doing like a sarcastic tone.
No sarcastic tone here. Well, who's on Young Frankenstein?
Well, we'll figure it out. I don't have
decided.
to confirm it just
wow.
yet.
Okay.
I've got a few irons in the fire.
All right, fair enough.
But Oneofus Network, you'll see Chris all over the place, so please listen to Highly Suspect Reviews, Digital Noise, especially. That's like the flagship,
Those
I
are
feel
the only
like.
2 shows I'm doing right now.
Okay, well.
Other than occasionally appearing on the Masterpiece show, and really kind of like the flagship of One of Us, Trash in the Can.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the greatest show of all time. Until
Shut up,
just waddled into the room
Came in,
with his
waddled
dick
in
out.
with his dick out, yeah.
Do you want to say anything to the folks?
Do I want to say what?
Say anything to the folks.